There is a phrase that I never forgot when I was younger. I heard this phrase from pretty much all the adults around me, even some of the men themselves that I was involved with or that wanted to be involved with me admitted this. And that phrase was, these boys only want one thing. I never forgot it. I'm the Sovereign Woman. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you enjoy this type of content, my commentary, and my sovereign sermons or whatever, hit the subscribe button, like, share, and comment. These little boys only want one thing has never left my mind. And it is amazing how when we get older, it's almost like we think that that phrase no longer applies. Well, I'm here to tell you that phrase applies for the rest of your life, ladies. That phrase never becomes untrue. It's always true. Finding a man who only wants one thing is like throwing a rock in the water. Like, it's the easiest thing to do. Every step you take, every 2 to 3 steps you take, there's going to be a man only wanting one thing. If you're really unlucky, the man will want two things: your body and your free labor. Sometimes men just want your body and that's it. Sometimes men just want your free labor and then they go sleep with other men. But that's a whole nother topic. When you can get through your mind as women that these boys only want one thing, it will set the stage for the rest of your life. It's going to set the stage for every decision you make thereafter. So if you really think about it, if you know and understand that most men just want your body and that there is absolutely nothing flattering or nothing that's a flex or anything, it's nothing flattering about a man being sexually attracted to you. Now, growing up when we were young girls, we thought that was it. Like, this is it, sis. We going walking, being fast, hanging with our cousins and our friends and stuff, our siblings, and the men are just blowing the horn, and they think that, ooh, y'all are some beautiful young ladies. Ooh, ooh, you got a body on you. Ooh, ooh. And for some women, they recognized it. Some young girls, should I say, recognize the men for being creeps. They recognize it. They peep game right away. Some of us were like, we the shit, because every time we go somewhere, we got grown men looking at us. It wasn't until I turned about, I want to say 15, where I started to realize that something was wrong with that. Like, something was very, very wrong with grown men, late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, checking for 15-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 19-year-olds, hanging out at high schools, hanging out at middle schools. You think it's cute for a while, some women. And I'm one of those girls. You think it's cute until you realize it's not. Then you start really getting creeped out by men when you get old enough to understand. Luckily for me, I started figuring this out in my mid-teens, that men are dangerous. And these men were grown as hell chasing after us. Just because a man is sexually aroused by you, it is not a flex. It just means that he wants to stick his pee-pee in you. That's it. And I have to put it that way because I want you to really think about it. Like, that's all they want. They don't care if they give you something. They don't care if you give them something. They don't care about using protection. They don't care if they knock you up. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. They just want to get their rocks off. A man being sexually attracted to you is not a flex. It is actually a danger to you. The moment you realize this as ladies, the better off your life is going to be. And the reason why is because you're not going to waste time, effort, energy, your body, your youth, none of that on men. You will not waste your time unless you want to. Unless you feel like it, right? Unless you got some time to entertain. You got some energy, you got the confidence, that they can't shatter your confidence. If they try negging you, you know how to kick them to the curb. If you know how to do this shit, then fine. But a lot of women don't. And the number one way to not get got, like I said in the previous video, like back when I was at like 4 or 5 thousand subscribers, the number one way to not get got is to not believe anything men tell you, because they're going to lie. They're going to lie. They're going to say whatever they need to say to get in your pants. They're going to say whatever they need to say to be injected into your life somehow. Whatever you want to hear, whatever they think is going to get you to let your guard down, they're going to say it. They're going to pretend. If you tell yourself men don't love, they could never love to the capacity of a woman, even if they could love, and they only want one thing, I'm going to focus on myself, you will not get got. And if you have gotten got, unfortunately, it's not too late. It's not the end of the world. Yo, you still breathing. You still here. You can still make different choices. Just don't get got again. That's it. It's simple. Don't believe nothing men say. So I know you're going to be like, well, what about love? And I want to get married and I want to have kids and I want to blah, 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 blah. And the white picket fence and the American dream, which if you still believe in the American dream living in America, you have absolutely been not asleep, but dead this entire time, because the American dream is done. Okay, that's a whole nother topic. But if you're saying you want that stuff, and what about all that stuff? My answer to you will be do it. You just can't complain and say there was no red flags. You can't say nobody warned you when you get got, because your chances of getting got is literally like 98%. And it's in the black community, damn near 100. And I'm sorry. Marry before you carry doesn't work, because the vast majority of women who married before they carried and so-called did it the right way are all divorced and injected into poverty. Many of them, most of them, have nothing to show for but their kids. And I'm not saying their kids is nothing. I'm just saying that's it. They don't have assets, bad. Their credit got bad. All types of stuff has happened. The man left you high and dry at the end of the day, or you had to leave him because he was cheating or he was abusive or whatever. All of those women are divorced, the vast majority of them. And then the ones who are still married, most of them are unhappily married. They're miserable every day, struggling. So marry before you carry doesn't work. Purity culture doesn't work. And for the record, I never fell for purity culture, right? Even when the adults in my life were saying, them boys only want one thing, I knew that I was never going to fall for purity culture. Like, I knew I was a very sexual woman, young woman, very young. I knew when I was in high school, there was a couple guys I wanted to take down through there. There was a couple guys that I wanted to throw this ass in a circle for, but I didn't. I was smart enough to wait until I graduated high school before I had sex for the first time. And I knew I wasn't getting pregnant. I knew I was on birth control. I carried condoms around even when I wasn't even sexually active, because I'm like, just in case, better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I literally had that mindset in my mid-teens because I was terrified of becoming a mother. I was terrified of getting pregnant. I was terrified out of my wildest fantasies. I was terrified. Wasn't going to happen to me. So I never fell for purity culture. I knew for a fact that when the time was right, I was going to be throwing that ass back. I knew it. So the purity culture thing also is kind of dumb. It only makes sense if you're doing it for you. Then it's wonderful. If you're doing it for men, if you're doing it because you think men are going to love you and respect you more, you are sadly mistaken. The men literally say you're pure until a man touches you. And yes, that includes your husband. Once you are touched by a man, any man, you are now dirty and useless. That is what purity culture teaches girls. You're dirty now, even if it's your husband, because you're most likely going to get a divorce and you're not pure, allegedly. That's the whole premise of it. I always knew it was dumb as a child. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And so what men don't realize they're doing is they're telling women, we're dirty. If you sleep with us, we're going to clown you for it, call you whores, tell you ran through them for the streets, because you are now dirty because you had sex with a man. Their logic or non-logic is that stupid. I'm going to beg you to have sex with me, And then once you give it to me, now I'm going to go tell everybody you're for the streets. Now you're not pure anymore. Now you're a whore. Now you're not a virgin and we want virgins. That just goes to show you how effed up men's minds are. Why would y'all ever need to have babies with or marry men when the vast majority of them think this way? And they do. Patriarchy exists. The patriarchy exists because men think this way and they train young boys to grow up and think this way. They become red pilled by the time they're 12 years old. Think of the movie Adolescence that was on Netflix that was popular some months ago. That's how the boys are radicalized. Social media and the patriarchy. Once you realize that these men just want your free labor and they want your body and they don't care if you get pregnant, they don't care if they make you a single mother. They will literally make you a single mother and then complain that you're a single mother and talk about how they don't want to date single mothers. They can be a single baby mama maker and then clown you for being a single baby mama. The logic that they have, the lack thereof, is pathetic. This is why you shouldn't believe nothing they say. Are you going to have to go through an ego death when you realize this about men? Yes, you're going to have to. And then you're going to have to rebuild your self-esteem, rebuild your goals in life and whatever you want to do. And you have to do it without thinking about a damn man. Now, for those of you who are going to ask, how can you say all of this about men and date one? Because I don't want from men what the average woman wants. So for an example, even though I think most men are trash, I still believe and I subscribe to the school of thought that you should be with the man who loves you more than you love him, who likes you more than you like him or whatever, right? I firmly believe that, have always believed that. However, that saying, that phrase is for women who want marriage and who want kids with these men. I don't need love from a man. I don't need love from kids. I don't need that. When you have enough love for yourself, and baby, listen, I love the fuck out of me. I'm going to put me first every time, no matter what. And I always knew from a young age that I didn't want kids. Now, it wasn't until I got older that I started to really unpack why. Because when I was younger, I was like, I'm not pushing no baby out my hoo-ha. That's terrifying. But when I got older, I started realizing all the real, like, real reasons why. You know, you're going to end up a single mother. The men don't really love. The men don't have any connection to their kids outside the mom. And when they break up, it's fuck them kids too in the minds of these men. Once I started realizing that we were in a patriarchy and all of that stuff, it just added to my already reason, which was I don't want to have kids because I'm not messing up my body. I'm not stressing myself out like that. I'm not putting my body through that type of trauma, right? But I've known from a young age that I did not want to do that. I didn't want that role. I didn't want that responsibility. I knew by the time I was mid-teens, 15, 16 years old, that I was most likely not going to get married because I'm like, I don't want to take on all those jobs. I don't want to come home after a hard day's work and clock into my second shift, like I always say, right? And I damn sure want to be a stay-at-home mother with no money, not have my own money. Never. I would never do that to myself. I love me too much to depend on some other dying human being. The other human, everybody's gonna die one day. The man's gonna die one day. Your husband, they're all gonna die one day. Something's gonna happen. I'm never going to rely on another human being for my livelihood. That is stupid. If you are doing that, stop now. Reevaluate your life. Find some passive income that you can put into a savings account that no one knows about. Do something. Have some kind of backup, because these men will leave you high and dry once you no longer serve their purpose. Once I realized that, I knew I was never giving a man a baby. I knew I was never ever gonna want to marry somebody with the thought that he's gonna love me forever and be faithful to me forever and never look at another woman and all this other stuff. I just don't think that way because I know that that's not how men operate. They're not even bred up to think that way to begin with. And men are so weak-minded. They are so easily prone to falling into the traps that men in the patriarchy set for them. the bad influences around them. They follow the crowd so easily. They're so weak-minded, most of them. The vast majority of men are weak-minded as fuck. Once I figured that out, I'm like, why would I ever trust anything a man is saying? So I decided I was going to use men for fun, excitement, to pay for everything while I keep my money. Why spend mine when I can spend yours? And of course, I was going to get laid. Okay. Because, I I like sex. I enjoy it. I'm sorry for the women who don't and who feel like men don't know what they're doing and whatever. That hasn't really been my experience. I'm not saying I've never experienced it, but that hasn't been the sum of my experience. It just haven't. And, I've always enjoyed myself. So I always knew I was going to get laid. I was going to get mine at the end of the day. And you just don't attach your feelings to it. For me, it was easy to do. I'm just, these boys only want one thing, which is great because that's all I want from you too. So it works out. But when you want kids and a family and the American dream and all that, you're taking a huge risk. You're betting. You're playing a game of roulette. You don't know what you're going to get. And I'm the house. I always bet on me. The house always wins. If it's something outside of my control, which is other people's actions, I am not going to be that heavily vested in it. I don't have any control over it. I'm not investing that much of myself into it. I may dip my toe in it, but my whole foot, my legs, my other legs, my arms, my torso, my head, my brain ain't following that toe. It just ain't. It ain't. And that's why I never got. And if you are in a situation right now where you haven't gotten got yet, don't allow yourselves to get got. If you have gotten got, which means, some guys lied to you and pretended that they were going to be there for you, and, they ruined your credit and they got you put out your house and you have babies by them, or whatever your got situation is, you can still move forward. Just don't let it happen again. Don't repeat the same mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. You believe that man the first time, he was all in and he told you he was never going to go anywhere and blah, blah, blah. And you believed him and he turned out not to be telling the truth. Okay. Know that same exact thing can and will most likely happen with the next dude. Right away, a couple years in, a couple decades in. A lot of women be like, oh, well, luckily for me, I found a wonderful man and blah, blah, blah. And it's been 20 years. And then the 21st year, the man just be like, I'm finna get me a younger woman. They will switch up on you at any time. The more years you got with a man, that shit only matters to women. That does not matter to men. They don't care. The moment they decide they want something new, something fresh, something young and exciting, it's lights out for you. They do not care what age that is. They don't care what y'all been through together. They don't care how much you held them down. They don't care. And because I know this about most men, I will never be willing to take the chance with the other men who may not be like that. Because I don't know. The best way is to just not fall into the trap. And that's just my approach. You might not think my approach is helpful. You may say, oh, you're missing out on love, or you're missing out on this and that and the third. I don't care. I don't care. I don't need a man's love. I got my own love. I got love for me. I got the love of my sisters and brothers. My imaginary cats that's going to love me in the future that don't exist right now. I know my cat's going to hold me down. I've had cats in the past, and my cats love the entire fuck out of me. Okay? I know my future cats are going to love me. That's all I need. My self-love, my siblings' love, my nieces and nephews' love, my man's love, if he loved me. I don't know if he do or don't. Don't really care. I got myself, and eventually my future cats. And that's that on that. So, I'm done with this topic for today. I'm hoping that anything I said resonated with you. You don't have no control over anybody else's choices, only yours. Choose wisely. And I'm not saying choose men wisely. I'm saying choose yourself. Choose your decisions wisely. Your decisions wisely. Live your best life. All right. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.
All together, girls. 1, 2, 3. Fuck these men on the internet. They don't know what they want, but they will see what they can Well, go and waste your one and only precious life while pretending not to have a full receding hairline. So keep your eyes on his hairline and your hand on your drink. For all you know, he is a psychopath. He'll leave you on red and he won't care if you're dead. And the psychics on TikTok are wrong.